First of all, I want to thank GK Talks for giving me this opportunity to share my story with you. I hope it will ignite the fire in your belly, because I'm going to give you 6 steps during my talk, which I found transformed me into my future self after I experienced trauma. And that led to my path from pain to purpose. I'm Dr. Madeleine Gomes. I'm a doctor of metaphysical science, a mindset alchemist, and an executive business coach. But this is not who I was. I was a former director of a top 10 company that I founded. I worked with the unemployed truck drivers, and I showed them the way to their greatness, and then found jobs for them with major companies, which led to staff takeovers and developing a top 10 business. At the peak of my success, I became the victim of organized crime, where they wanted my business, they wanted my life, and they wanted my home. And it was very organized, very militant, and very precise, because I was not the first person that they targeted, but I was one of the few who fought them for 2 years. Until word got to me that they are going to kidnap my son. Therefore, I decided to close my doors because they will not have my business, and move away from my home, furnished next to the sea, beautiful, and go into hiding with my son for our safety. Overnight, I lost my security, I lost my income, and I lost the business that I built up from nothing to be the top. I felt totally isolated because that's what they've done. I didn't know at that time that I was suffering from mind control at the same time. So I had lost my confidence and I lost my spark within me. Now, it's not unusual for me because I grew up in a home filled with domestic violence, where trauma was part of our everyday life, where the expectancy of the worst that can happen was part of my life. And maybe that schooled me to manage and handle situations like these and others later on in life, and it built resilience in me, where I can actually step up and play the game. But up to a point, when my son was in danger, I would not risk that. Anyway, so that left me in a pit of despair. Not only that I had no job to go to, and no business, no income, no security for the future, I also didn't fit in anywhere. I didn't know anyone. I had to leave everybody behind. I couldn't find a job because I'm overqualified, and I'm slightly older at that stage, so who's interested in me? And there I sat, unemployed, unsuccessful in my mind, traumatized, negative, toxic is the right word. And I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. One night in despair, I decided to end it all. And during that altercation, I had a divine intervention. And I heard this voice very loudly and very clearly speak to me and say, "Follow me, I will show you the way." I had a good argument with this voice that came through, because this voice been part of me since a young child. But during my trauma years, I didn't want to listen to this voice. I had enough of it. I thought, where were you at that time? To be honest, it was always there. Yet as it may, I started to follow the voice, the prompts every single day, because I thought I had nothing to lose. I started to feel better, like a miracle healing or a cloud started to fall over me. I started to feel slightly lighter, and I started to do things again and start to slowly but surely interact with people. But I had these negative beliefs in me. And every time I had a belief or a trauma thought or anxiety coming into me at that stage, I had the voice coming through and say, not like this, like that. This continued for about 2.5 years when I realized that I am actually fine. I'm healed, but I redid my inner architecture. I rewired my mind. I rewired my self-esteem. I rewired my body. I even looked different. And I had to find forgiveness in my heart, which was the hardest, most difficult part of my full healing journey to achieve. Because there were many close people that deceived me, sold me out. That was part of my story. Yet as it may, I've learned the following. When we go through trauma, all our season of life changed, because seasons are there for 7 years. We either up our game or we totally change it. And if we don't, it becomes harder and harder until it gets changed for us. Now that's a different conversation for another day. So I didn't listen, and I got changed. And my season got changed. And today, connecting the dots back, I can see why, and I understand it, and I'm grateful for it. So what I've learned is the first step in your healing is renewal of the mind. The mind forms the foundation of who we become, what we believe, and what we achieve. It also forms roots like a seed within us that bears the fruit that we plant. Also, it leads to patterns of behavior. So every seed's got a pattern of behavior. And if you plant the seed of fear, the pattern of behavior, it will block and stop you and put the worst possible fear in you not to take action, not to move forward. But what if? What if they? But I can't, but I've never. And all these buts, doubts, and fears will be very alive within you, and you will become them. But if you believe that I can do anything, that I can achieve anything, I put my mind to it, then also doors will open for you, because you plant the right seeds and they attract what you plant. So I found during my traumatic years, I was so toxic and negative that I attracted toxic and negative people into my life. When I had my successful business, I had positive people in my life. So therefore, I know if I tell you, the seeds you plant grows a forest. The second step in the healing process is, of course, what we believe. We create, we give birth to it. It's that seed that we nurture that becomes who we become on mind, body, and soul level. And once we create that, we feed it with our self-esteem. And the self-esteem is either the overcritical voice within you, questioning everything, seeing the negative in everything, and it's never positive moving forward. Or you start to honor yourself, love yourself, become that vision that you are creating. Set up healthy boundaries and move forward with fire in your belly that wakes you up with joy, because you are looking forward to this vision of you in the future that you are busy creating, that's pulling you forward instead of holding you back and recreating the past into your future. And the next step is forgiveness. We carry resentment, bitterness, anger, unforgiveness in our hearts. We become that. We create a wall around us that cannot be penetrated, but it also means that we cannot receive. So therefore, people feel ashamed. They start to blame. They cannot build relationships because they have no trust. And they are filled with rage, resentment, and bitterness, which comes through their voice and the words that they use when they speak. And therefore, that creates a loop which they create again and again. And they stay in this loop. And I cannot understand, why is everybody so negative towards me? Why do people sound angry when I speak to them? But it's because I sound angry. I sound resentful and bitter. I've learned that the hard way. I didn't want to be with people. I didn't trust anyone. I was angry. I was resentful. I was super bitter. It poisoned my body, affected my health, affected my mind and my soul. It disconnected me from my spiritual connection. Therefore, today, when I speak to people, I'm able to determine what goes on in their hearts, because you can hear it in the voice, because that is who we become. So I've learned that on my journey of bitterness. And then we have to change the words that we use and the tone of our voice. We need to become conscious creators and conscious speakers. Instead of talking about the politics and stuff that you cannot change, instead of keep on talking about your trauma and the negative events, why not speaking about your victories, your wins, your dreams, and only see the positive in other people? Because remember, we received the imprints from our father and our mother. We are able to stop those cycles and start new ones. That's far more positive and more aligned with the future ahead of us. Once we master the words that we speak, because they become the truth that we walk, we have to look at the intuition. If I listened to my intuition, I would never have gone through what I've gone through. It was sending me warning bells with every person involved in my story. But I didn't listen. It's not like I didn't trust it. I heard it. We all have it. I didn't listen because I didn't want to look like I'm so critical. And I had all these reasons in me why I would give them the benefit of the doubt. And that benefit became my pain. In the future, when my intuition speaks to me, I listen. I don't ask questions. I don't doubt. I listen. Because God gave us the super intelligence system within us, which I just explained to you step by step. And we can use it and live the most amazing life. And not that I say it will be always easy, but we will manage the challenges differently, and we will not create a loop of ongoing pain. Or we can ignore all of this, and we can be the worldly image of who we are, and we can go through strife, lack, suffering, instead of having the courage to be open and to be willing to be born again and to become that divine imprint that is already within you. So this is my story, from pain to purpose. My story has been leading me to help people to change holistically, to discover their greatness and their purpose, and then to step into careers that they love. But now, I had a choice. I could have been stuck in pain and always be bitter, and probably by now sick and dying. Or I could make that choice and follow that voice, and then follow the prompts that basically led to my healing and my transformation. I truly hope that this story inspired you. I truly hope that it ignites the fire in your belly, because there's so much untapped potential in each person. And if you, and only you, do not go into that belly and find the untapped potential, nobody will do it for you. Thank you for listening.